Okay, this is just a quick video to show the upgrade to the electrics that we've made, and big thanks to Mark Pleatmen in Michigan, because my knowledge of how the servos and so on work was minimal when I started this project, and I've made it too complicated and we can now make it more simple. So in the original, because the receiver works off lower voltage and the motor works off a lower voltage, I have put in a buck converter and a splitter here to so that you could have the supply to the motor and a supply to the buck converter, different types, and then we had an ESC controlling that. Now Marcus has suggested we simplify this considerably, and the first thing he's suggested is, instead of taking a servo apart and making it into a motor, just getting a 360-degree continuous motor. And this basically is a standard servo, but it's 360-degree continuous, and it will just work away. So just plugging that straight in, that will do this servo here for the winch. I'll plug this one back into the actual servo that was ready for demonstration. The only thing we need to do is the line from that servo. I have split it. I've taken a wee JST extender, split the power lead so that it goes to this, and that works. Now the second thing that I didn't appreciate was that the ESC that we have for the motor has what's called a BEC output. So by the fact of plugging in that into the receiver, it's supplying it with the 6 volts or 5 volts that it needs to run. So we've done away with the ESC. In fact, these are the bits we've done away with. I don't need the ESC anymore because we're using the continuous servo. I don't need a splitter at this end to supply both the buck converter, that's the buck converter, and the for the lower power. And well, that's just a little wiring loom that goes to the micro switch. You still have to make a wiring loom for that. But this all now works. Now the original one that Mark suggested I use for this was an MG, what's the number on it? It's an MG996R, but it comes in two forms, an ordinary servo and a continuous 360 that we demonstrated earlier. So it's the continuous 360 that you need. Now what I have found is that particular one is a bit slower than the original. I had a 35 kg centimeter servo in there acting as a motor, but it's quite straightforward. I now found on AliExpress, and anybody can find these, a 35 kilogram but continuous 360, and if you change that over, we've got rid of a lot of the clutter. This wiring diagram is simple. I'll get the wiring diagram and the parts list, and I've been helped with the parts list as well, but I'll get those all up on the YouTube channel very soon. But that's just to show you the upgrade to make the electric simpler, and it works.